Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, good morning. I want to play something, or I'm going to record it and you guys watch it. And I don't want you to think that this is becoming a political page or something. But I've lived a long time, and I do believe in the Lord, but I also know that people have free will to do what they want. And some people's free will is literally killing us as women. So I want you to hear this story because we got 40 some days left before we got to go to the polls. And this thing has gotten to be so out of hand and so scary in its own way. And I know people don't want to think about it, they don't want to believe it, but I'm hoping that when we go to vote, that's not just a horrible, horrible day. And it's not like some country where people are literally knocking each other off, getting into fights and hurting each other because of going to vote. I just want you to hear this story because these are the things that's really bothering, or one of them that's bothering me. I just want your thoughts on it. Sometimes I play stuff because I've had thoughts on it, or I may, put a question out there and say, what do you think? And that's because we're the pulse of a lot of countries, more than just the United States comes over and watch the videos sometimes or be in the lives. And so I just want to know what you guys are thinking. It's not for me to say that what you're thinking is wrong or what I'm thinking is right or what I'm thinking is wrong or what you're thinking is right. I want us to always be able to have dialogue, mature dialogue, and agree to disagree. This is not to hurt anybody's feelings, make them feel less than or whatever. We all have an opinion and we have our right to it. But sometimes I'm doing things to inform you, but majority of the time I'm doing things to kind of push you out of that box for you to think about more than just yourself and your 3 or 4, and think about the effects of the things that we do on everyone, not just us. So listen to this.
About the death of a 28-year-old woman in Georgia who died because of what George W. Bush and Donald Trump did to her when they appointed those Supreme Court justices. Amber Nicole Thurman was a healthy 28-year-old medical assistant who was the mother of a 6-year-old boy. And the choices made by George W. Bush and Donald Trump and the Republican Supreme Court justices and Republican politicians in Georgia, using the tools that those Supreme Court justices gave them, killed her. ProPublica reports, in her final hours, Amber Nicole Thurman suffered from a grave infection that her suburban Atlanta hospital was well equipped to treat. She'd taken abortion pills and encountered a rare complication. She had not expelled all of the fetal tissue from her body. She showed up at the Piedmont Henry Hospital in need of a routine procedure to clear it from her uterus called a dilation and curettage, or D&C.
Now I'm going to stop right there because I personally had no idea that because of this new ban that you couldn't get a D&C. And D&Cs are given all the time, and the majority of the time it has absolutely nothing to do with the situation this young lady was in to, expel a child. But hers, they get the rest of it out. So I am just totally confused about this. But there's more.
But just that summer, her state had made performing the procedure a felony, with few exceptions. George W. Bush, in his silent retirement in Texas, made that routine medical procedure a felony. Donald Trump is proud to noisily take credit for overturning Roe versus Wade and claiming that we all wanted that to happen, and he is pretending that he has no blood on his hands. Donald Trump is pretending that he had nothing to do with making a procedure, a routine medical procedure like a DNC, a felony. Amber Nicole Thurman would be alive tonight if the Supreme Court had not handed the 2000 presidential election to George W. Bush. Without George W. Bush's appointees to the Supreme Court, Amber Nicole Thurman would be alive tonight. She would be a healthy, happy mother of her young son, who was forced by George W. Bush and Donald Trump to attend his mother's funeral at age 6.
Now, I know some people will have an issue about the fact that the news commentator, continuously used the two men's name who appointed those judges to the Supreme Court. Apparently, I did not hear when the former President Trump had said that he would only appoint judges to the Supreme Court who believe in banning Roe versus Wade. This is not about a personality. This is about the choices that these people are making that won't affect them in the long run. Neither one of them got wives as, childbearing age. Maybe it might affect them with their grandchildren if they're still around when they get to that age. The former, not the one that's... Anyway, I'm getting off topic some. They're making decisions that are literally killing women. There was another story about a woman who literally bled out in the back of her car. And I want to say Minnesota or Idaho, because doctors are afraid of assisting women when it comes to anything that's falling up underneath this ban that could get them in trouble, because they could lose their medical license behind this. So it's between them and their career and us as women. I don't know about you, but this really bothers me. Not for me, because I'm not childbearing age anymore, but for all the other young ladies that's coming after me. All the other young women. Because see, then things are going back to the alleyways and the closed door places and, the underground places, because it's not going to stop people from wanting to do what they banned. It's just that now they're going to be going back to doing it in ways that have harmed women for many, many, many years. My basic belief on this is, it's not just about this. I just think that if God gives me free will to make choices, good, bad, indifferent, then why is it that man has decided that I can't make those same choices for myself? It's just as simple as that. If my faith says that I believe that it is wrong for me, not anybody else, for me to not have a child, then that's a choice that I'm making for me. But how am I going to go next door and tell the woman that lives next door to me if that choice is good or bad for her? Because she has her own belief system and do things the way she wants to. We have to understand that it's not about if the other person does something, it's not going to change your faith, your belief. It's not like God is going to say to you, oh no, you don't get in heaven because you didn't go over there and tell that person not to do that. Because when you're going to be held accountable, you're only going to be held accountable for you and your life and what you did. Yes, when it comes to being a Christian, we collectively work together, but we're individually judged by God. We're one body, but we're yet still individual cells of that body. Am I making sense here? So we don't have to push off our belief on someone else and make a judgment call for them in the choices that they make, because it's not going to affect you in the long run. You may not like it, but it's not going to do anything to you. So maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I've gotten old and senile and I just hadn't realized it, because I don't understand how in 2024 and going into 2025, it seems like the choices that I even had when I came in the world as a young baby seem to be taken away. That by the time I leave here, everything that was voted in for me to be able to supposedly live in a free country are slowly but surely taken away. And the God that made me didn't say that it had to be. And these are people, and I say that word loosely, who say that they believe in the same God I believe in, but they are now trying to pretend like they're God themselves. Because as far as I know, from my faith and my belief, He's the only one that can make that call. He created us, and He's the one that knows the expiration date for all of us. Sorry, y'all. I just had to get that out. So for those who feel like they're going to be offended, I'm not going to apologize for what I said. I'm allowed to have an opinion that you may not care for. We need to get our feelings off our sleeves. We're either badgering each other about our belief systems and our opinions, or we're trying to delete each other because of it. It's okay if you don't believe the way I believe. I ain't mad at you, and you shouldn't be mad at me. I just want you to be able to be knowledgeable about some of the things that's going on out here if you're not, and just to think about the choices and decisions that we're making, and it's affecting not just our household but others. Now, I'm going to end with this. Before you say something, I like MSNBC, but I do know that they have their biases. Every news channel has their biases, and they lean one way to the next. It's not even that. I just wanted you to hear the story, because that's a true story. So regardless of who reported on it or not, and their opinion on the former two presidents or not, it still happened. That young lady is no longer here, and that 6-year-old child is now motherless.